Shalom.
Shalom.
This is Voice of a Watchman here on the Sabbath. And we say all praise goes first to the Most High, and most importantly, the Most High Ahayah.
That's right.
Bahashem Yashayah wa. And we thank the Most High for another Sabbath and another Sabbath and a holy day, the blowing of trumpets.
Yes, tomorrow. So if you can please come back and tune in tomorrow night. We're going to have a good lesson and hopefully a continuation of this tonight. I'm not sure what Josh is going to bring tonight, but I might bring something tomorrow for us.
We're going to have a short, not a short, but we're not going to read that much in the Bible. We're going to do a lot of explaining and talking tonight. Go to, open the Bible, everyone out there, to Genesis 49.
Okay.
Genesis 49, and hold it.
Okay.
Hold there.
All right.
For this holy day, instead of breaking down the holy day, what we're going to do, this is the memorial of the blowing of trumpets. You can read it about in Leviticus 23. So we do thank the Most High for another sacred holy day that He commanded us to keep. He did not command us to do Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, or any of these wicked
or sun god
holidays.
Worship. That's right. No such thing as sun god worship.
So what we're going to do, I got some this is a book that we read out of every once in a while. Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor. That's Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor. You can get this on Amazon bookstore online. And we're going to be reading some good information out of this book that we just received yesterday or 2 days ago. Yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
2 days ago, actually.
Friday. Thursday came.
Wednesday.
Okay.
This is Hebrews to Negroes by Ronald Dalton Jr. Hebrews to Negroes by Ronald Dalton Jr. So before we go and touch on some facts, some history out of these. Now these books are written by people that have studied these subjects for years, decades. This book right here came out, I think, in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. So this knowledge that we're about to bring out here is a well-documented ancient fact, historical fact that all the historians, well-known historians, know. So everything we're about to bring out historically and biblically tonight is a fact.
And Josh, I want to say one thing. You have to know biblical history. Right, Tony? Nationalism, biblical history, or you will never understand the Bible, of who our people are, who we read about in everyday reading, knowing that they are Black Hebrews, knowing that we have to know the truth, who we're reading to, who Christ spoke to. And that should not be a hindrance or a shame to anyone, that everyone he spoke to was Black. So there's a reason for that, not because someone that's white can't know the Most High. No, of course not. But there's a reason for it.
You have to acknowledge your teachers.
That's right. Tell them.
right?
That's right.
You can't say I believe in Christ and not acknowledge who Christ was or the scriptures, the authors of the Bible.
That's right. That's right. Exactly right.
This is another book that we have received great understanding out of. This is the Negro question, who am I? Part 1. This is a 5-part series. You can get this on Amazon as well. It's a sad thing that it's a true statement. The best place to hide information from people is in a book, or Negroes.
Mm-hmm.
The best place you can hide information from a black person is put it in a book. Because most black people ain't going to spend money on books.
And the irony of it is, Josh, the truth is in the only book.
Right? The Bible.
Wow.
Open to Genesis 49, Mom.
Genesis 49, honey.
We're going to go through Genesis 49 in a little bit. And then we're going to finish tonight in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter.
Oh, excuse me.
And we're going to touch on a couple of scriptures tonight.
Oh, that brother, the young brother that's coming into understanding at the gym, he's telling me he's reading Deuteronomy 28. He says, wow. He said, just don't understand. Like I told you, I said, read it.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. Take your time.
Right,
You all right, Josh? Yeah. You see, it sounds almost like
prejudice, but it's not.
Like we're racist. No, because I know, even as sitting in Christianity myself for 29 years, I was deceived. Really deceived into all this understanding and coming into this knowledge.
Not just, but the understanding was kept.
Right, it was kept from me. It was kept from me. Because it was kept from them. Now, not all of them know the truth, too, a lot of pastors. And they won't tell their church.
Money.
Yep.
The almighty dollar.
Yep. That's right. So, what we do is we love the Bible. We use the Bible first, right, Tony? Foremost, Mary. But
you have to understand.
History books, you need them to understand who you are and where you came from and where you're going.
I'll say this. If you don't have a base understanding of who you are in the Bible, historical documentation won't help.
That's right.
Well, maybe it will, but
so,
the best place to start is get yourself a 1611 King KJV Bible.
With the Apocrypha.
And if you notice, this has the Apocrypha in it. Because the Jews, the ancient Hebrews who wrote the Bible, and you can't really say ancient because they're not ancient because they're here today. The children of Israel considered the Apocrypha
Holy
canonical.
That's right.
That's why King James put it in the 1611. And King James himself was a black man, a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah.
And because of the Apocrypha, the Christian world has tried to teach and brainwash people that the Most High was silent for 400 years. I mean, that's one of the biggest lies I've ever heard.
So, and how is the Most High not going to speak for 400 years?
Yeah, tell us.
What sense does that make?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm holding. I got my thing placed here, my tag placed for Genesis.
So,
where do you want me to start? Okay, so we're gonna. I don't know how long we're gonna be, but
this is a holy day, so we're gonna hopefully take our. I'll say it like this: whatever information or knowledge the Most High will allow us to bring, that's what we'll bring. Then we'll stop.
And tomorrow is actually the day of
we must be led by this Holy Spirit. Whatever the Spirit wants to bring out,
that's what we'll do.
And give us the energy and the spirit to do it, we'll bring it out.
Awesome.
But let's start. You must get this book. You must get this book. We've only had this for 2 days, but the information that we've learned it's
If you're coming
just
into
goes along with the
understanding,
Bible.
You
It
need this
confirms the
book.
scripture.
that's right. You need this book. You need it.
Hebrews to Negro. So this will show you how you started out a Hebrew, then you became an African American,
Mm-hmm.
which is an anomaly. How can you be two continents?
Tell them, Josh. That's right. That's
We're
right.
going to start in the Negro question, part 1. Negro question
Okay,
by
wait.
Lee
You
Cummings,
gonna read? You want to read?
where I marked, where I highlighted.
Okay. I start with Africa or Carthage?
Carthage.
Carthage.
Carthage
Carthage, Africa, was a Jewish colony.
was a what?
Jewish colony.
Replace that with Israelite, because there's no such thing as Jewish.
That's right. Jewish colony.
No, Israelite.
Jewish colony.
No, I mean restart it, and instead
Okay.
of saying Jewish, say Israelite.
Israelite colony founded in North Africa.
So, and we're going to see in this passage how Africa became named Africa. Read.
In the year 1800 BC by the black Phoenicians.
Phoenicians.
It could have
Now, the Phoenicians are Hamitic people, or
Okay.
Africans.
been, right.
Read.
That's it. It could have been a place of refuge
It could have or was a place
Place.
of refuge. Read.
for the Israelites.
For the who?
Israelites.
For the white people.
Israelites.
For the Jewish people.
Israelites fleeing the Assyrian invasion.
Fleeing now the Assyrians were black as well. Remember, all the main nations in the Bible, except for the European nations, were all black skinned. Now that I'll say it again, because that shocks people. The Bible, the whole armies that were fighting against each other, and primarily in the Bible, except for the Greco-Romans, the Greeks and Romans, the Persians, Egyptians, Hebrews, Canaanites, Ethiopians, all of those nations were black. Read.
Okay. Refuge for the Israelites flee the Assyrian invasion of 722 BC. See 2 Kings, the entire 17th chapter.
Yeah, and read, for those listening, read 2 Kings 17 for yourself.
Carthage was defeated by the Romans
By the who?
by the Romans.
Or the Edomites. So these were Israelites fighting Esau, their brother.
Wow. By the Romans.
Sounds familiar, don't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Defeated by the Romans in 2001 BC by the Roman general
Scipio.
Scipio Africanus. Libya was named after this Roman general Africanus, and this is where the name.
This is where the what?
This is where the name.
Now let's get
Africa
that in the
came
Bible.
from.
Let's go to Psalms 49:11.
All right.
Hold your place in Genesis.
Now watch how important this is
49,
to have
11.
these books. Okay.
Psalms, the 49th chapter, verse 11.
49:11. Okay, hold on. All right, Psalms 49:11.
And if you want to know what the Israelites look like, that's Joseph. The Joseph you read in Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
He was black. He don't look like the ones they call Jews today, do they? Does he?
No.
He looks awful like the ones they had on plantations and would march, and they've been marching ever since for no reason.
Wow. Tell it, Josh. Okay, ready? Psalms 49:11. Their inward thought is
So Esau's inward thought is, read,
that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to
in other
all
words,
generations.
what they've established will always be in their mind. Read.
Right. Okay. They called their
They
land.
what?
They called
They call their lands.
They called their lands after their own names. Okay,
So they call their, in other words, whenever they go places and they establish, first, after they genocide a population off, enslave them, indoctrinate them into religion, that they created, they changed the names, the land masses' names, to their names. Where do you think America came from? In the 1400s, a European explorer named Americus Vespucci came here and named America after himself. Where do you think Africa came from? We just read that. Leo Scipio Africanus, a Roman, an Edomite general. So wherever Esau goes, brothers and sisters, he renames, destroys, genocides, rapes, murders, lies. He is of his father, the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not all white people are the devil.
No. That's right.
There is a specific group of Esau that is the devil.
That's right. And their dwelling places to all generations. They called their lands after their own names.
So we see that America, Africa, Genesis 49. We're going to go there in a little bit, but
I got it. Okay, Josh.
This lesson tonight is called The Truth About the So-Called Blacks. The blacks. Who are you? Who are you really?
That's right. That's right. I'll be right there.
And I'll read. This is on page 65 in the Negro question. Now, these are Edomites, man. Roman papal bulls condoning slavery. So Christianity was behind slavery. It's still behind slavery. At the time, the Negro captive was suffering under the destruction of his continent, the enslavement of his wives and children. One of the most powerful white institutions in the world turned a blind ear to the moans and groans of an entire continent. The Catholic Church. Now, who are the Catholic Church? Its children, your Christian denominations. So what happens? Now, not at the same about the same time, you had the Protestant so-called Reformation. Now, they didn't change their view about black people or so-called black people. They just made up some new doctrines to believe in. So they were still teaching you're a Hamite, that you're cursed because of Canaan, and we're going to show you what Christianity secretly teaches secretly or publicly in some areas when we go into this. So the Catholic Church, we show that at least 2 popes issued papal bulls condoning slavery, beginning with the Dumb Divisors issued by Pope Nicholas V. In 1452, sorry. In 1452, historical date, by the way, authorized King Alfonso V of Portugal to reduce any Saracens, Muslims. Now remember, the Saracens, the Muslims, the Hebrews, and all these people were black. The Muslims were black as well. All the Near East, all the what we call Middle Eastern cultures were black. So this is white people using religion and government to control and enslave blacks.
That's right.
Now, just because someone is black don't mean they come from the same seed line.
That's right.
Saracens and pagans, black Israelites. So, according to the Catholic Church, blacks or Hebrew Israelites are considered pagans. Are considered pagans by Christians. Now, who is the real pagan? Actually, that's the problem. Because as we're going to discover, the people that they captured and enslaved were actually keeping the traditions of the scripture. They were keeping the Sabbath, the holy days. They weren't eating unclean food. So
that's right.
And any other, and listen to these devils though, these Christian devils. Unbelievers, black Hebrew Israelites. So Christians justify your slavery by saying what? Oh, slavery was bad, but slavery was good because we gave you Jesus. Or in other words, we gave you. Now listen.
Wow.
Listen to the backward thought of this.
Come on.
You had the Bible in Africa. So it took you being brought halfway across the earth.
Come on.
Into a strange land, being enslaved to get close to God when you were connected in your hiding place.
You actually lost out with your true power when you came to America.
So, to perpetual slavery. So, in other words, they ain't never going to release you. You are still a slave. As long as you suck breath, you are a slave. Thereby, in the West African slave trade. So the slave trade was started by Christians.
That's right.
Funded by Khazar Jewish people. See the connection?
Yeah.
The Romans Pontifex also issued by Pope Nicholas V in 1455, sanctioned the seizure of non-Christian. Now, whenever you see the term non-Christian, what they usually mean are people that were really following the Bible, but they didn't like it because they couldn't control them with their religion.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's good, John.
Esau, when you notice something about Esau, he always teaches the Bible in a way where he can control you and empower him to rule you.
That's right. Exactly. Awesome, Josh. Awesome.
The enslavement of non-Christian people in Africa and the Americas, especially if they gave the green light to invade, search out, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens and pagans, aka Hebrews. So now listen to this, the backwardness of this. These are pagans, right? The Christians are pagans, right? So they get, since they have the authority of spirituality, they get to determine who the pagan is when they're the pagan.
That's right. Come on.
That's backward. And other enemies of Christ. In other words, any enemies of Christ according to them, not the Bible, but according to their doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
Christ wherever placed of all in the name of Jesus. So this was issued, this letter or papal notice was issued by Pope Alexander V in 1493, which then states, so we all know what happened in 1492. 1492 was when that devil Edomite, Columbus, that pedophile, raper, murderer, devil,
come on,
came over here and massacred almost 20 million people, over at least
28.
By conservative historical numbers, 15 to 30 or 15 to 25 million Arawak, Taino, and Jawak people in the Caribbean. And a frantic hunt for gold. Not only did he slaughter them, they raped the women, and watch this, they gave the people that they didn't kill Christianity to control them. And what came with that Christianity? Cesar Borgia, white Jesus. So my question is, what has Jesus done for you? Now, this is Pope Alexander VI. Now, we know a lot about Pope Alexander VI. We know a lot about Pope Alexander VI because we know that he's the one that sanctioned the recoloring of the Bible. And we can read about this in the Apocrypha, where the pagans would seek to paint the images of themselves in the Bible. Wisdom of Solomon 14 in the Apocrypha as well shows you that this man had a son, Cesar Borgia. And they would take this man who was a known faggot, homosexual, homosexual, pedophile, murderer.
That's right.
And make him so they want you to believe that that Christ looks like them. Only problem is they know, and we're going to show you proof, historical proof in this when we touch on this in a minute before we read in the Bible, that they still pray to and reverence the Pope, the Roman, every Pope, they reverence Black Madonna. What is the Black Madonna?
Wow.
The Black Madonna is, hold on, let's see if I have an image of that in here. This is the Black Madonna. And there you go. The head devil on the earth praying to his master, who he knows is his master, but he don't want you to know it.
Look at that. It's a white pope praying to
a white Edomite devil praying to.
Go closer now. Come up now. Look at that. Right there. And who's that? That's Christ. He's black.
And that's the Black Madonna.
Okay.
That they still reverence in Roman Catholicism. So, but see, they can't hide themselves. History paints them as the murderer and liar they are.
That's right.
And that goes for Christianity as a whole. Christianity is a lie.
Murderers.
Liars.
Deaf, jealous, haughty. Thank the Most High. It's not all, but this is most of them. Okay, where do you want to go? We, the papacy, Josh?
We, the papacy.
We, the papacy, command you, Spain,
we, the Christians, read,
to instruct the aforesaid inhabitants and residents and dwellers therein in the Catholic faith.
In other words, strip them of their faith, their true heritage, enslave them, make them worship us, read.
And train them in good morals.
In other words, our standard of morals,
right,
which will always make them reverence us.
Wow. This papal law sanctioned and paved the way for European colonization and Catholic missions in the New World. Who were the non-believers? Remember, the Ashanti,
Ashantis,
the Ashanti, the Igbos,
the Igbos,
the Jews of Nigeria,
the Israelites of Nigeria, read,
Beta Jews of Ethiopia, the Philistia Jews, the Limba tribe, and all of the Jews in the Wheat Coast, the Gold Coast, and so-called Slave Coast of West Africa. These people worship the God of the Sabbath, the power of the Sabbath. They circumcised their sons on the 8th day. They kept the dietary law in the 11th chapter of Leviticus. They kept the blowing of trumpets and the feast days. The people of captivity were non-believers of what? Examine the...
So, exactly, they were non-believers of what? Because they were the believers. They were non-believers according to the conquerors who wanted to brainwash them.
Wow.
And are we saying all Christians are evil? Notice we didn't. I said I did not say Christians. I said Christianity.
Oh, okay, that's it. Come on.
Which is not an individual. It is a religion.
Good, brother.
Christianity is the devil. Christianity is the devil. I'll say it again. I'll say it slow so you get it. Christianity is the devil.
It's a made-up religion. It has nothing to do with the power of the Most High.
When historically it's not even biblical. These people invaded and forced a religion, not lovingly. They made you believe in it.
Let me say something. Because in the Bible, Christians today, or even 20, 30 years, they do not read right. They tell you, well, weren't they called Christians? Yeah, exactly. They were called Christians. But they never accepted that word. That word was a derogatory word used against them. So when it was time to murder them, right, Tony, and kill them for their faith, they would know where to find them. And actually, if you go deeper into the Hebrew writings, Christian means foolish ones.
Exactly. See, history will always point you to the truth.
And will always expose the lie.
True history.
Yes. Awesome, Josh.
So, keeping that.
All right. Okay. Examine the verbiage from the Council of the Laodicea. It states that Christians must not Judaize.
So, now, listen to the backwardness of this.
Come on.
A Judaizer is one who follows the Bible. So, the Catholics or the Christian clergy says you must not follow the Bible. Read.
That Christians must not Judaize by resting.
By what?
By resting.
By what?
Resting.
On the what?
On the Sabbath day.
Sunday.
Sabbath day.
Sunday.
Sabbath day.
I thought Sunday was the holy day.
Sabbath day.
So stop. And the reason we repeat things like this is not to be repetitive for the sake of repetitiveness. It's to make so because people miss these things. They don't. It doesn't register.
Right.
So and when we read historical documentations, you must understand the reason these things were done. There's an agenda behind everything, brothers and sisters. And the agenda is to keep you from the Most High.
That's awesome, Josh.
Everybody, whites included, because we went to church for. I was raised in Christianity.
That's right.
My dad was raised in dealt with false religion for almost 30 years of his life.
That's right.
So we should know
I'm learning the Bible.
The wrongness of it. It's wrong. It's not in the Bible. You think it's in the Bible, so that's how you read. You read what you
philosophers.
In other words, think about this. What is sin? Sin is a thought. Well, we know sin is a transgression. That's not what I'm saying. How does sin start? Sin starts in the mind, and you work it out in your body. If you think a religion is in the Bible, when you read that Bible, you will read it into the Bible when the Bible doesn't deal with it. So you will constantly misunderstand what you're reading, and you'll miss the overall message. Now, we're not saying that, like we say, anyone can follow the commandments. That's not the point. Salvation is not, salvation is the point of the Bible, but it's a specific people that will be saved to direct everyone else to the Most High. Not everyone is supposed to be dealing with this Bible. I'll say that again. Not everyone is supposed to be teaching this Bible. Because the majority, what's the first thing you think of when you hear the term gospel? You think of a preacher on a what do you call it, on a stage, blabbering some mess that ain't even in the book.
They don't even hold the Bible in their hand because they don't know the Bible.
So the Christians said you must not Judaize by resting on the Sabbath. Why? Because at the top they understand if they can keep you from this day, the Shabbat, the holy day of the Most High, they can disconnect you from Him.
Wow.
And then they can, by that, then they can introduce their day to you and make it your holy day.
And there's no such thing as a Lord's Day. And we're going to prove that sometime to you.
And that's deep, brothers and sisters, because that is, see, Satan can even use the Bible and trick you with it.
That's right.
He's not going to come to you with some false religious book that you don't believe in. He's going to use the Bible and have his ministers wax over it or whitewash it to you.
That's right. Good, Josh. Rather honoring the Lord's Day.
Sunday. So Sunday.
Which Lord?
No. Now Sunday. Here's another lie. The term first day of the week in the Bible does not deal with the first day of the week. The first day of the week in the Bible, in the language of the Greek, is Sabbaton, which means a Sabbath or a interval or between Sabbaths. Okay. So Christ did not rise on a Sunday. He rose on a Tuesday or Wednesday. Why? Because he was crucified on Passover. What's after Passover? First fruits. That's why the Bible calls Christ the first fruits from the dead. Why? Because he rose on first fruits.
Wow, awesome, Josh. Good. That's good.
So that's deep right there.
Yeah, that's good, brother.
Read.
Rather honoring the Lord's Day, Sunday. Which Lord? If they be found resting as Christians, but if any should be found to be Judaizers, let them be anathema from Christ. This is one of the reasons why the Europeans justified enslaving the black Hebrews from West Africa, because they were Judaizers. After all of these official documents coming from the Anglo-Saxon and the Jewett priest papacy, Jewett, you have a strange event taking place in 1865. Remember, under the law of darkness, it was illegal to teach the Negro to read or write.
Now, if the white man controlled the Bible, why was he so afraid of a slave that was uneducated, an animal, as they want you to believe, unable to learn anything but work? Why was they so afraid of them reading the Bible? So afraid that if you were caught with it, you would be killed. So what was the fear? What's the point of keeping someone who's unable of learning anything from something and so afraid you have to make it a law? Wow. So wait a minute.
Twisted.
So showing you they were so afraid and wanted so badly to control your mind with the Bible. Now, when I say control your mind with the Bible, make it illegal for you to have a Bible, read it for yourself, so they can take it and make you believe it through their lens. So by believing it through their lens, it empowers them to rule you.
Wow.
So you will always, if you follow that, you will always stay underneath them spiritually.
Wow.
Read.
So who do you suppose made his way to the so-called slave quarters to instruct the Negro in the ways of Christ? Remember, the Negro couldn't read or write under the law of darkness. So who do you think taught the Negro his religion? It was the papacy. And the papacy taught our fathers how to worship God, contrary to the scriptures. This is why the Lord had the prophet to write, this people has been robbed and spoiled of his memory, his identity, his resting place, and his God.
Stop.
Wow.
Now we're gonna see history. The reason people are afraid to deal with history because it unwraps a lot of questions that have not been answered, or they can't be answered because they lead to a conclusion that certain people don't want you to come to.
I want to say something too. And because this teaching that Josh is talking about that's been so twisted in Christianity, they have just masked everything and just destroyed, I mean, the people who really have the true power. So I just want to say that.
Again, and
but it can be brought out, it can be shown to you, but you're going to have to do research yourself.
It's good to be long-winded at times, because now I want to share you some hard-hitting facts from this book. This is a very good book, a very thick volume. It's over 700 pages long. You will learn a lot of things. I've read it, not read it all the way, but some things I've already learned in it have refreshed my memory on certain things and brought out facts that I didn't even confirm facts that I was thinking about. So,
well, Josh, what you're saying is the more we search for truth, we're going to find it. The Most High said, Christ said, Yashayah said, those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, the law, all right, that's burning in our hearts now, are going to be satisfied.
This is page 65 in the Hebrews to Negroes by Ronald Dalton Jr. Now listen to this. This is on page 65, paragraph 2. Paragraph 1. Fact. Israel is connected. Now listen to this. Israel is connected to Egypt by the way of the Sinai Peninsula, even though the man-made Suez Canal separates the Sinai Peninsula. Now, the Sinai Peninsula is where the Mount of the Most High is, Sinai. So, although that separates from Egypt, but in ancient times it was not all one land mass. As a matter of fact, Egypt, the Sinai Peninsula, Palestine, and Israel all share the same tectonic plate, meaning they are all on the same landmass. Now, how did they get separate? Now, listen to this. This means Israel is a part of Northeast Africa. Now let's hold that, and I want to read why this is important. I'm going back here. Just seen it. Since Africa, Israel, or the land of Israel, or the homeland of the Jews, is in Northeast Africa, why is this important?
That's why it's so very important to learn to do research also, and to find your identity and to know who you really are. It's one of the most important things in your life. And to know who you are, where you came from.
This is page 38. Fact. Canaan was the youngest son of Ham, and like his brothers, he settled in Africa. So these were blacks, black-skinned, dark-skinned people. Only Canaan inhabited northeastern Africa. Now, why is that important? Because before the Jew or the Israelites conquered the land of Israel, what was it called? The land of Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
So the land of Canaan is in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So why is this important? Next to Egypt. So that must mean that the Israelites and Egyptians must look the same.
Yep.
Sounds a little fishy. Someone's lying. Sounds like there's some lies out there. Which all modern, which we call today modern day Palestine, Israel, Lebanon, and parts of Jordan. So all that was the land of Canaan. Now, why is this important? Europeans, Edomites changed Canaan or Israel on the map to be part of the Middle East. So when they conquered that area in the late 1800s, early 1900s, they got control of the Middle Eastern maps and changed it. Now, why is this important? Because if Jesus was not born in Africa, it would be easier to believe that he was not black. That's heavy. I'll read that again. Because if Christ was not born in Africa, it would be easier to believe and say not black.
Wow. Awesome, Josh.
So wait a minute. So by believing that Israel is not part of Africa, it's much easier for people to disconnect black people from Christ.
That's it.
Because we know that black people are in Africa, but if you think that Africa and Israel are not on the same tectonic plate or continental plate, it's much easier for you to think that Christ was not what he was, a black man.
They were on the same geographical plate. That's right.
Read this.
That makes
Dad.
a lot of sense to answer.
Does it, Dad?
Yeah, sure does.
This means
that Israel is a part of Northeast Africa.
No, it's not Africa.
This means that Israel is a part of Northeast Africa.
Read.
Europeans, Britannia.
Who
Europeans.
Edomites.
Europeans.
No, use the biblical name. Edomites.
Edomites, Britannia, Britain, came up with the term Middle East.
Who came up with it?
Britain came up with the
Edomites
term.
did.
That's right. In the late 1800s.
Like I said, late 18, early 19. Right? When they conquered that place.
Right. And its popularity continued in the 1900s. Before then, there was...
Before then, key operative, pay attention. Before that time, right?
There was no...
There was
no Middle East.
There was no Middle East until that time. So whenever Esau comes somewhere, he changes the whole geographical idea and maps.
Awesome.
He changes everything to lie to people.
Awesome.
To cover up the color of the Israelites.
Awesome.
Read.
It's a known fact.
Wait, it's not a known fact.
It's a known fact that the Middle East has no clear boundaries, and for this reason, it is a made-up name.
It is a what?
It's a made-up name, Middle East.
Hmm.
If it was real, having real boundaries, then we should see a Middle West, Middle North,
Right.
and Middle South on the map. We do not see this. This was a clever way to separate the land where well, they use the word Jesus, and the Israelites lived.
Wait, the land of where Christ and the Hebrews lived. Read.
Hebrews lived from Black Africa.
So, like I just read on page 38, by making you think that Africa and Israel are not on the same continental area, what does that make it easier to believe?
Right.
That he was not a black man.
That's right.
But the Bible says, and history, the term clearly says that Christ was black.
That's right. If Israel, Canaan was part of Africa, then people would have a hard time proving that the Israelites were not black. Wow.
So, and
That's
I got,
awesome.
and we'll read this. And now,
Take your time.
this is,
We get blessed. Mary, Tony, it's good.
we got our, we're going to read some in Genesis 49 in a minute. Then we're going to touch on some curses, and we're going to pray out for the Sabbath. And again, this is the Feast of the Blowing of Trumpets, and that's what we're doing. We're blowing the trumpet. Wake up, Israel. It's high time for you to come out of your sleep that these
Christian
wicked
church.
devils have put you in for think about this. You have been lied to and robbed of everything that is sacred to you for 400 to 500 years.
Wow.
Think about and
Wow.
man, that's deep.
Yeah, it is.
So now we want to see what the ancient people thought. The ancient people. Now, this is the Arabs. Now, the Arabs were also black because they came from. So technically, the Arabs are Shemitic.
Shemites.
Because who did they come from? They came from Father Abraham, right?
That's right.
And from what's his name?
Shem.
From Hagar and Abraham, who was an Egyptian. No, Hagar the Egyptian.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. And her son, what's her son's name? Ishmael. Right. Ishmael.
In the
Ishmael.
wait.
Right.
Now listen to this. This is on page 62 under the heading "The Arabs' Historical Accounts of the Ancient Hebrew Israelites." In the Quran, which is the holy book of the Muslim, it describes the victory they believe Allah gave them over the Hebrew Israelites, people of the book, which would allow them to subdue and ultimately enslave. Enslave. So historically, even before the white man came, the Arabs and their Quran enslaved you. That's why we have movies like Roots. Now, that was true. The Mandingos and all those tribes who are actually Hebrews, who are Hebrews, were conquered before the white man came and gave you Christianity. They came and give you Islam and Muhammad. So, which during their invasion of Arabia, Africa, starting in the 7th century, ironically, during the Arab slave trade, keyword, slave trade, Arabs took black, taking Hebrew slaves from the west and east coast of Africa, would call their cargo the people of the book. Wait a minute.
Wow.
They call their slaves the people of the Israel, of the book. What is the book? Not the Quran, the Bible. So they knew that the Israelites were black-skinned people.
Wow, good.
Wait a minute. So these Arabs didn't think the Jews were white. That's the whole point of what I just read. So let that sink in. The Arabs called black people living in Africa Jews, Israelites. I'll read that part again. The Arab slave trade, the Arabs taking Hebrew or black slaves from the west and east coast of Africa, or the land of Ham, would call their cargo the people of the book.
Awesome. Where's that touching?
The slaves taken from Africa by the Arabs
Awesome.
on slave ships.
Called themselves.
On slave ships.
Wow.
On slave ships.
Wow.
Called themselves Yahudi. Yahudi.
Yeah. Which
means children of Judah.
Or
read that, Dad.
Yeah, that's good.
Start with on
slave ships called themselves the Yehuda, which means children of Judah or children of Israel. It is well documented that from 600 AD to
it is what? It is well
documented that from 600 AD, it is well documented till the 1900s, and even today, Arabs have mostly taken slaves from Africa in what is called the Arab slave trade, or Quran. In this sense, would provide undeniable proof that these Hebrew Israelites, These Hebrew Israelites, or
African Americans,
Hebrew Israelites, or people of the book.
Wait. So the Arabs knew who you are.
They sure knew. Wow, that's awesome.
And we got some more information. During the Arab slave trade, the Arabs enslaved black people from Africa and Arabia, scattering them across the world in the Middle East. This is why is still black presence in the Middle Eastern countries such as Palestine, Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, and Jordan. Nobody knows this because in the media in America does not televise it. So they keep the black people in the back, the Jews in the back. They don't show you them in these areas in the so-called Middle East.
That's right.
What they show you is the whitewashed Jewish people and Arabs. And those ain't the real Arabs. The Arabs are black. What those people are Ottoman Turks.
Awesome.
So nowhere it is documented that the Arabs in 600 AD enslaved a race of white European Ashkenazi Jews. So for you to think that those people are the Israelites, you're a liar. You are a liar. You are a liar. There is no place in history where white Europeans went into a slave condition of slavery with ships. But historically, like we just read, there is only one people that fit that glove.
That's right.
And I got some other things I want to bring out here before we touch on the Bible. This is a holy day, and like we said, we're going to be a little long-winded, but the knowledge is worth it. Right?
Tony, can you give me some more water, please?
This is page 25.
Thanks, Tony.
This is page 25. Where do we come from? Does skin color really matter? Fact: 14 countries were represented in a group of assemblance in Berlin Conference opened November 15th, 1884. The countries represented at the time included Austria, Hungary, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy, Netherlands, Portugal, Russia, Spain, Sweden, Norway, Turkey, and the USA.
Wow.
So now what is this leading to? Let's keep reading.
Okay, let me read. Got it.
I got it. Of these 14 countries, France, Germany, Great Britain, Portugal, and the major players in the conference, controlling most of the continental, wait, now this is important, controlling most of continental Africa. So this whole conference, where all these white Edomite nations came together, was how we can divide Africa amongst ourselves.
Wow.
So we can wipe that land out and set our government heads over it. So
very good, Josh.
This colonial Africa.
You can expound, Josh. I can say
colonial Africa.
Okay, colonial Africa at the time. At this time, only the coastal areas of Africa were colonized by European powers. At the Berlin Conference of European coastal powers scrambled to gain control over the interior of Africa. The conference lasted until February 26, 1885, a 3-month period where colonial powers established boundaries.
Established what?
Boundaries.
So they decided to divide it. Read.
And states over the interior of the continent. They disregarded the cultural and linguistic boundaries already established by the indigenous African population.
Read.
Following the conference, by 1914, the European Conference participants had fully divided Africa among themselves into 50 countries. Wow. Before, there was no such thing as Cameroon, Nigeria, or Uganda. Major European colonial territories included.
So now, this is, so Great Britain
Are you okay, honey?
Great Britain desired Egypt, Nigeria, Ghana.
Let's read the word, man. We read the Bible.
Sudan, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Nigeria, Gambia, Sierra Leone, Ghana, and Gold Coast. Now, why were these places so important? Because they know that this is where all the slaves they captured the Jews, the Israelites out of. All these, so France took the West Africa, Mauritania, Chad, Gabon, Republic of the Congo, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Belgium, took Republic of the Congo. The Portuguese took Madagascar, Angola. Italy had holdings in Libya, Somalia, Ethiopia, Ghana. So Germany also took some of Ghana and Tunisia. The Dutch also took some of Ghana, and the Spaniards colonized the west coast of Africa. So, hold on.
So they did this really, Josh, to really separate the true Israelites now too. Is this established today, Josh? Also.
Hold on.
Wow.
Say something like that.
Yeah. Well, my son's a good teacher, and we got an awesome book a couple of days ago, and we're really blessed with it. just keep listening. And we're not, I don't know how much longer we're going to be, but, it is a holy day. And, right, Tony, we look forward to these holy days. We really do. Christianity has made up feast days. They call it Easter. They call it Christmas. They call it New Year's. They call it Easter, whatever they call it, Thanksgiving. But those are not the feast days. They are real feast days. And please get a hold of them because they are holy and
Truly holy.
Truly holy. And we know that the angels worship with us on the Sabbath. Put your hand up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Genesis 49.
Okay. Mary? Genesis 49. Yeah.
And Jacob called unto his sons and said,
So we've clearly historically established that these people are black. Read.
Go ahead.
and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days.
All right, so we're in the last days.
Gather yourselves together, and bear ye sons.
And here.
Hear ye sons of Jacob.
Okay.
And hearken unto Israel your father.
Okay. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed.
In other words, Reuben slept with one of his father's midwives.
That's right.
The tribe of Reuben today are the Seminole Indians and the Aboriginals of Australia. Read.
Then defilest thou it, he went up to my couch. Mary?
Simeon and Levi are brethren,
Brethren, go ahead.
instruments of cruelty.
So Simeon is the Dominican Republic, and Levi are the Haitians,
That's right.
who are mainly the Iroquois Indians, the Taino Indians, and other native indigenous people. Read.
Are in their inhabitants.
The instruments of cruelty are the voodoo and the Santa Maria, the witchcraft dealing with the Dominican Republic. Read.
O my soul, come not thou into their secret.
So the reason he says in the future not to go and deal with their secret things is because the witchcraft that they deal with can damn and can kill you.
Destroy you, that's right.
Unto their assembly. My honor be not thou denied,
Okay.
for in their anger they slew a man,
Uh-huh.
and in their self-will they dig down a wall.
Okay. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel.
I will divide them, so they will live on a divided country in the future, being the same people, and they will be scattered, thinking they're different people in their minds.
Right. That's right. Judah.
Judah are the African Americans, and some people are still of the tribe of Judah in the so-called continent of Africa. Read.
Thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise.
So in other words, everything that these people do, everyone will look to. They follow their worship. They follow their music, their clothing, their athletic.
Come on.
Who are generally the most athletic people, so-called African Americans?
That's right.
Not because they were given that name by the white man, because they're the children of Israel. Read.
Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies.
So you will have you will have your hand at the neck of your enemies. In other words, you'll be right there with him.
Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
So all the tribes of Israel will follow you.
Judah is a lion's whelp.
In other words, you're a lion cub. Read.
From the prey, my
Now,
son.
what's the symbology or similitude? A lion cub is still a lion, but it doesn't know the strength and the power that it has because it's not grown up yet.
Wow. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. Wow. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're doing, right?
The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet,
In other words, that lawgiver is Yashayah. Read.
Come on.
until Shiloh
Until peace comes, that's right.
come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people,
Ah, the gathering, not the rapture, the gathering.
binding his fowl unto the vine,
Uh-huh.
and his ass coat unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes.
All right.
His eyes shall be red with wine, and his milk and his teeth white with milk.
That's
Read.
Yashayah in Revelation. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea.
The haven of the sea is Colombia and Panama in Central America, the Panama Canal. Read.
And he shall be for a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto
Or
Zidon.
like Zidon in Israel.
Wow. Issachar is a strong ass.
Issachar, the so-called native Mexican, indigenous people of Mexico.
That's right. Crouching down between two burdens. And he saw that rest was good. They're the hardest working people in the world. And the land that it was pleasant. And bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. In other words, they were the cheapest anywhere in the world for people.
Dan shall judge his people. Dan shall judge his people
That's right, a little
as
louder.
one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, and adder in the pen, and by the horse's heel, so that his rider shall fall backwards. I have waited for thy salvation, O
That's good.
on high.
Can we be a little more explanatory in there, Joshua?
Gad, a troop.
Oh,
Gad are the
yeah.
Native American Indians.
That's right.
A troop shall overcome him,
Come on,
but
American.
he shall overcome at the last.
That's the American army. That's what they did. When Gad was here in what, 6th century,
Mhm.
they came here where no man ever dwelt. And when the Europeans came, the armies of America, that's what they did to them.
Mhm.
But he will overcome at the end. Go ahead, Mary.
Out of Asher, his bread
Ashers are the so-called Venezuelans, the Brazilians, Argentinians, and Peruvians. Read.
and he shall yield royal dainties.
Royal
Naphtali,
dainties are the children and the oil and the natural resources in those areas.
Awesome.
Read.
Naphtali is a hind let loose.
Naphtali are the Hawaiians, the Samoans, and South Sea people.
He giveth goodly words.
Read.
Joseph is fruitful,
The children of Joseph are the so-called Puerto Ricans
Fruitful bar. Go ahead, Mary.
and the Cubans.
All right.
even a fruitful bough by a well,
Uh-huh.
whose branches run over the wall. The archers have sorely grieved him.
His enemies can
Shut
come on and shot at him,
him and
hated him.
So the archers, speaking of this, are the Europeans who
Right.
came here and butchered and genocided them.
That's right. But his bow abide in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty power of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, even the power of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee, with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the beast and of the womb,
Breast.
of the womb. Get Mary.
The blessings of thy father.
So in other words, one of the ways you will be identified to Puerto Ricans and Cubans as Israel is they will have a whole bunch of children.
More than anyone, that's right. The blessing, get Mary.
Prevailed above the blessing of my progenitors
My progenitor, my progenitors.
unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills.
Good, take your time.
They shall be on the
Head.
head of Joseph,
Mhm.
and of the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brother.
Wow. Benjamin.
Benjamin
Go ahead, Mary.
shall raven as a wolf
Mm-hmm.
in the morning. He shall devour the prey.
When they would take these specific people, the tribe of Benjamin, on slave ships, a lot of times they would kill all the slaves on those ships would kill the crew and turn ships back and go back.
Wow.
Read.
And in night he shall divide the spoil.
So they would take
All
those-
these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is their fathers spake unto them, and blessed them, and every one according to his blessing he blessed them.
That was a good lesson,
And
Josh.
that's it.
We did a lot tonight. We started what? 7? Oh, we started that late? I thought we started quarter after or something.
So
That was good though. We put some
That
time.
was-
That was good. I really pray that anyone who listened tonight got something out of this, and I sure did. You must get these history books. We have a bunch of them. I mean, we're so blessed to have these books. Of course, we use the Bible first, and we do, but you have to have some, what do you call it?
what if someone
Some kind of.
what if someone says to you, can you give me historical without the Bible? That's where
Yes,
his history books come in.
that's right. If you go to get American history books, you are not going to find them because they're not going to give it to you. And we have so many
So-
books now, and they've been a blessing, a real blessing.
With that, we say
Until tomorrow night, shalom.